A tall and evil shape, mounted upon a black horse. The rider was robed all in black, and black was his lofty helm, yet this was no Ringwrath but a living man. His name is remembered in no tale, for he himself had forgotten it. The Mouth of Sauron was one of Sauron's most devoted servants, serving as his herald and messenger, and as the lieutenant of the Tower of Barad-dûr at the time of the War of the Ring. His true name was forgotten, even by himself. Biography. The Mouth of Sauron was a man, whose early history is unknown. He was one of the Black Númenóreans, men who established their dwellings in Middle-earth during the years of Sauron's domination and worshipped him. The Mouth of Sauron entered the service of the Dark Tower when it rose again. He learned sorcery, rose to become the lieutenant of Barad-dûr, and commanded the orc armies of Gorgoroth. He was one of the few servants of Mordor who communicated directly with Sauron. War of the Ring. The Mouth of Sauron appeared briefly before the host of the West prior to the Battle of the Morannon. He dismissed Aragorn's claim as king, and demanded to know who had authority to treat with him. But then Aragorn's gaze frightened him, and he cried out that he was an ambassador, and not to be attacked. Gandalf assured him he would not be, so the Mouth took Gandalf to be the delegate. He showed them Sam's sword, a grey cloak with an elven brooch, and Frodo's mithril vest, and said that the fate of the spy would depend on their actions, further insinuating that if they did not comply, the spy would be tortured for many years. The Mouth then stated that the Hobbit would be allowed to go free, so long as the captains agreed to Sauron's terms, that the rabble of Gondor and its deluded allies withdraw beyond the Anduin River, swearing oaths never again to assail Sauron the Great in arms, open or secret. All lands east of the Anduin River would belong to Sauron in perpetuity, and all lands west up to the Gap of Rohan would be disarmed and pay tribute to Mordor. Sauron would allow them to govern their own affairs so long as they helped to rebuild Isengard, which would be then ruled by a master more reliable than Saruman, presumably the Mouth himself. Gandalf replied that was too much for the ransom of one servant, and doubted that Sauron would keep his word, calling him the base master of treachery. Gandalf demanded that the prisoner be brought forth, but the Mouth only responded, "These are the terms. Take them or leave them." Gandalf responded, "These we will take," seized the cloak, sword, and mithril coat, utterly rejecting Sauron's terms, and ordered the Mouth to be gone, as they had not come to bargain with Sauron, much less with one of his slaves. Enraged and fearful at the same time, the Mouth fled back to the gate and set Mordor's forces upon the west. Age. It is uncertain to which event is referred by J.R.R. Tolkien denoting when the Mouth of Sauron entered Sauron's service. The Dark Tower first rose shortly after Second Age 3320, and was rebuilt later when Sauron openly proclaimed himself in Third Age 2951. The former option would indicate the Mouth as thousands of years old by the time of the War of the Ring, implying his life was extended through sorcery. However, it remains unknown how old he was at the time of Sauron's final defeat. Portrayal in adaptations. The Lord of the Rings film trilogy. My master, Sauron the Great, bids thee welcome. Mouth of Sauron addressing the captains of the West at the Black Gate. In the Peter Jackson's movie adaptation of The Return of the King, scenes with the Mouth of Sauron were filmed but cut from the original theatrical release. These scenes were later put back into the film in the extended edition. In the film, the Mouth of Sauron is decapitated by Aragorn, while he leaves back to the gate and is never seen again in the books. He was played by Bruce Spence and appears as a tall, monstrous man wearing black, priest-like robes and a helm that bears the words, Laman Gorthor, Sindarin for, Voice of the Dread Abomination, written in Cirth runes. This helmet covers most of his face with only his horribly disfigured and diseased mouth visible. His mouth was digitally increased in size for a more unsettling and memorable appearance. The mouth of Sauron's cracked, blackened lips and rotting teeth were added as a hint that Sauron's very words are so evil that simply repeating them causes the speaker's mouth to decay and bleed. This change was made digitally, long after the footage had been shot. After Jackson rejected the idea of turning the mouth sideways to appear vertical on the face, the designers came up with the idea of rendering it twice as large as the original. According to designer Warren Mayhew, the original design for the Mouth of Sauron's costume had the helmet hooked directly into the mouth, pulling it permanently open. This had to be discarded, as it made it impossible for the actor to speak. However, Peter Jackson liked the idea of the robe flowing up into the helmet, and this was retained for the final version. Rankin Bass animated film. The halfling was dear to thee, I see. Know that he suffered greatly at the hands of his host. Who would have thought that one so small would endure so much pain? Mouth of Sauron, lying about Frodo's death, from the Return of the King film. He appears briefly in the Rankin Bass animated film The Return of the King, in a shortened version of his scene from the novel. After he introduces himself, he mocks Aragorn and warns him that he is hopelessly outnumbered. However, Aragorn rebuffs him with no help from Gandalf. He was portrayed by Don Messick, who also voiced King Theoden and the Easterling Captain in the movie. Radio versions. He appears in both the radio programs done by the Mind's Eye and the BBC in 1979 and 1981, where he is voiced by John Vickery and John Rye. In the BBC's version, the Mouth is given an extended role and is the one who tortures Gollum into telling him why he came there and what he was looking for. In the Return of the King video game, the Mouth of Sauron is a boss in the level, the Black Gate. Aragorn duels with him and slays him before the host of Mordor arrives. The same occurs in The Lord of the Rings, Aragorn's quest, but near the Bottle's End 4 orcs goblins aid him. In the Middle-earth role-playing game, the Mouth of Sauron is named Urzaheel, though this name was not created by J.R.R. Tolkien. Please like and subscribe. Leave a comment on what subject you'd like the next video to be about.